I've experienced all sorts of things, good and bad, as an Atomy member. Honestly, when you only make about 50,001, people are like, sure, do your thing, go ahead. But when real money starts coming in, that's when problems arise. And I've seen that happen firsthand. I've even seen issues happen to our own sponsor, things like divorce and other problems. So I realized once again that when there's a lot of money involved, problems always seem to arise. Experiencing things in Atomy that I thought only happened in dramas, what do you think happened to me? I came to realize that having a lot of money means you have to be really good at protecting it, and that it's a difficult path. So always think of yourself first. You have to live for yourself. Only then, when you become someone who is respected, will people around you want to follow you. It's the same with family. If I do well, my kids will say, my mom is so cool, or my dad is so cool. They end up wanting to follow you even more. You understand, right? Now, when you run a business, as I keep providing training, what happens? Sometimes you end up with business partners on both your left and right, A and B. But if you have 3 or 4 people, it doesn't matter. But when do you really run into a problem? The moment you really hit a wall is when you only have one person on each side. Why is that? You've sponsored both sides, but then these flower pigs appear. These flower pigs don't really put in much effort, but they still claim that they tried in their own way. But when you look at it, their abilities just aren't enough, yet some really capable people show up underneath them. So since they can't handle that capability, the sponsor steps in to support them and things grow. But then problems always end up happening. Sometimes people say they know, but in my experience, things always blow up. So later on, as more people join in, you start to think, I just wish they would stay still and not do anything. Honestly, it would be better if they just did nothing at all. There are always those people who are overly meddlesome, and you just want to say, please, just stay still. Eventually, you even get leaders who start saying things like that. But what shocked me the most at that time was how easily people became auto sales masters. This person had only been doing Atomy, but then heard about another MLM called PM from someone else. They tried the product and felt that it worked for them. You know, Atomy's delicious Propectomy, right? They started saying that this new product was better than that and that the Atomy one was too sweet. Maybe because they have some issues with sugar levels, they were a bit negative about it, saying it was too sweet. So, does that show the right attitude of an Atomy business person or not? They're an auto sales master, but their attitude is a 0. In fact, the partner even said something. They said, boss, you shouldn't do that. How can someone doing Atomy talk so negatively? So even though they didn't know anything, they were lucky enough to introduce a good partner, thanks to their sponsor. So since someone more capable than themselves appeared, they ended up managing their sponsor. As things kept growing, becoming an auto sales master was truly that person's good fortune. But instead of just staying still, they fell in love with the products. So what do you think happened next? They started sharing it with people in Atomy one by one, and that's where the problem arises. But did they tell me or not? They didn't tell me, of course, because if they did, it would cause a huge commotion. So they went around telling each partner under them one by one. Why? Because they wanted people to join under them as PMs. This person was thinking very simply, so if I go to PM, I just need to build one line. According to what they said, that's what they heard. If you just build one line, you can make 10 million won. Seeing that simple explanation, people who were just using the products here thought, if I just do a little more, I can earn even more here. They were just thinking about it in a very simple way. They didn't know about the sponsor's efforts in the process of growing under this, so because they lacked experience, things that come easily also fall apart easily. This is what I mean. So how do you think I found out about this? Because I was managing the people below me, I ended up hearing about it from those partners. If you're a sponsor and a problem arises to run this business properly, you need teamwork. The thing is, once you reach the level of auto sales master, even the partners below you start to realize where they are connected. Then, since I'm still communicating with the sponsor above, there are people who keep pushing forward regardless. Because that's just about setting the mood, so they just go along with it when told to do so. But what happens when a problem like that suddenly arises? You need to take action quickly in that case. At that time, I had never lost my temper before, but that time I really lost it. I was just so angry because I had never once bragged about sponsoring that person below me. It was because I genuinely wanted to help them grow properly. So even when I went to the provinces, I didn't even tell that person. I just went on my own. But that person saw photos of me in the provinces in our group chat and knew that I was even managing the performance of the people under them. So of course I was losing my mind. At that point, I realized this was going to be a problem because the partners below said, I can't do this here anymore. So what happens then? You have to deal with it quickly, right? So she admitted it herself. Oh, me. She admitted that what she did was wrong. Then she said something like, well, then I won't do Atomy anymore. At that time, I was really wondering if I should expel her when I thought about the company's rule. So I thought this could cause harm, so should I expel her? But the one thing I realized here was, let's not uproot it. You know lettuce, right? What happens if you pull out the roots of lettuce completely? It won't grow anymore, right? But if the roots are still there and the lettuce grows and you just cut off the top and eat it and then cut it again and eat it, what happens? You keep cutting it, right? So I had some partners below me, and the people who communicated with me reported to me that there was a problem, but there was one person who didn't communicate with me, but communicated with that person. That person signed up through PM and bought products. So I had everyone else withdraw, but I left those two without pulling out the roots. Why? First, when I looked at my own abilities and that person's abilities, I was checking who was more competent. Everyone making an objective judgment here is very important. If I'm not better than that person, then expulsion is the right choice. Why? Because they could take everyone below them with them. Then I could end up completely isolated like an outcast. I left the person who caused the trouble alone and removed everyone else from the group. Do you know what happened then? That person ended up coming back. How? As time goes by, as Impalim always says, you go through all sorts of experiences. People who encounter Atomy for the first time really need to experience something else and get disappointed before they can truly feel the excitement here. There's a sense of gratitude and thrill in the fact that there's no joining fee. But for those who are new, they don't feel that excitement, so they just think, oh, it's just a decent company. And that's why you always say it's frustrating. But that person didn't really know either. And after going there, it didn't take long before things didn't work out. In the end, they came to realize the true value of Atomy. So as time went by, that one line must have grown bigger, right? That's why this person realized it and is now quietly working at it. So what does that mean for me? They became a grateful customer. They became a valuable customer who increases my sponsorship bonus. So I said to myself that I should expel the, but I think I don't need to uproot them completely. Let's just say this person is a first-time offender. It's not that there's someone with bad intentions. I just thought they genuinely didn't know and acted out of innocence, so I decided not to uproot them completely. Also, they're an acquaintance of my mom, but as expected, after realizing what happened, that person said her son-in-law would now take over. Because when this issue came up, her daughter was there listening to everything, and she admitted, yeah, Mom, you were wrong. So the daughter also recognized the true value of Atomy, and now her son-in-law is apparently interested in getting involved. They're listening right now. They can't bring themselves to contact me because they feel sorry. So now they're quietly working on the business in silence, and I noticed they've liked some of my photos on Kakao Story and things like that. I thought they've repented and come back. Anyway, even though this person who had made it all the way to Auto Sales Master left the entire organization, there's still one root that's alive. And since they're still there themselves, along with their family, it looks like they're almost becoming a semi-sales master again. If they truly repent and come back, things will go even better for them. So because I forgave them, they're just a grateful customer to me now, and I don't have any anger about the past anymore. Why? I made that decision. I first checked whether this person was more capable than me or not, and I judged that since I have more ability in the end, that person wouldn't be able to take them away. And I also judged that they wouldn't succeed over there and would eventually come back. So in the end, my prediction was correct. So if you're a leader, you're going to encounter situations like this a lot in the future. When that happens, you really need to make the right choices, focus, and set the right direction. And when you truly feel that someone isn't right, you have to expel them if necessary. Because there really are some malicious people out there. But in this case, after considering that person's personality and tendencies, I judged that they would probably just give up halfway. They're not someone who sticks around for long. They get fired up quickly like a pot boiling over, but cool down just as fast, and it turned out my judgment was right. So even now, as that person is almost becoming a semi-sales master, I'm really happy about it. Why? Because it's thanks to people like them that the wish bonus reaches 6 million points. 6 million points. If I only bring along just 2 people each, there's a limit to that. That's why they say 3 by 3. But even with this 3 by 3 approach, you still run into limitations. If partners on either side switch things up to match dates and someone drops out, you need to have even more to make up for those who leave. That means you need to have more consumers. At times like that, those partners you used to dislike, those bad partners, end up looking good to you. But why do they suddenly seem so nice? It's because I have super dreams, so they look good to me. My dad always says the same thing. He says, "Oh, I just love all the people under you." He says that all the time. He says, "No matter what, they're all adorable. I just love them all. If they work well, I love them even more." My dad always says that. But you all need to have that kind of mindset. Especially among women, there are a lot of people who, when they get upset, say, "Oh, I don't like this Unnie." But for the sake of success in Atomy, even if you're boiling inside, there are times when you have to reach out and hold hands. You know what I mean, right? Why? Ultimately, it's for yourself. And for your partner, if you don't want your partner to eventually leave, they have to trust and follow you. So forgiveness is also necessary. Since I'm young, no matter how much experience I have, I still have my own common sense and personality, you know? When I step out of line, I pour all my energy into it with everything I have. But if something small goes wrong, it hits me really hard. For example, let's say I created a certain cell master. I worked hard on it. But if someone messes around and moves on to another fourth stage, do you think you could handle that? But honestly, people like this really do show up, even among those under you. At times like that, you really need to have even greater inner strength and more composure. Fortunately for me, forgiveness came in a dream where that person was crying and apologizing to me. So at that moment, I forgave them. There are times when I get really angry when things get turned upside down. When I feel like I'm about to lose it, it's because when someone acts out without understanding the bigger picture and does something strange, I can't help but think, this really isn't right. Should I cut this off or not? I really want to cut it off. Why? I just need to wait it out and endure a bit longer. That good person will eventually come find me. And I kind of have that stubbornness too. I'm good at holding out. But in that dream, when they cried and apologized, it felt like, don't pull it out by the roots. But my mom and dad kept trying to comfort me too. They said, don't pull it out by the roots. That person isn't like that. They kept talking to me, and I think I really forgave at that time. But looking back now, that forgiveness was a bit too easy. Because of experiences like this, since you have them too, what happens? You will face days like that in the future. So when they come, choose wisely and make the right decision. Understand? But everyone, that person eventually became a PM, but why did they join Atomy in the first place? It's because that one line grew really big. When you first start, that one line is small, right? And back then, when I was earning about 3 million a month, that person was watching me. But now they know that I'm making an incredible amount. So what do you think happens? They go crazy because they know. Hey, in such a short time, it's only been a few years since they found out, right? It's been over 2 years now, hasn't it? So just like that, it grew exponentially. They just lost it. That's why they come back. In the end, one line just grew explosively. When I was making about 3 million, that person actually tried to make me into their first real partner. I kept going through trial and error, and then instead of someone proper coming from above, someone proper came up from below. So I thought I should really raise another golden pig, and that's what I did. But then it caused another problem. So whenever I see a golden pig, I just, it's not for nothing that I say, I wish there were just a quiet bird or even just a puppy around. These little rascals always cause trouble, really. But I never really settled down, and I don't even know where I heard this. But big corporations always say that if you make too much money, people stop working and get too comfortable. So if you just give people enough to get by, just enough to survive, they'll keep working, right? What happens if you don't quit, but things really don't work out? You leave. But what if you set it at around 200 in the original amount? What do you think would happen? Would you quit or not? You probably wouldn't quit. So when auto sales masters mess up, I only look at things up to that point. Because anyway, for it to grow bigger, I have to support both sides. If you don't support both sides, it won't grow. That's why no matter how good a person you find, it's your choice to make them go to one side. Whether you, as the center, help your partners grow on both sides or not, the speed depends on where you focus. But if that person completely fails and causes trouble, but even if a good person comes along, as you keep working with them, if one side starts to grow, you end up focusing on that side and going down that path. That's when those people realize it. Why? Because they've tried everything else, but nothing worked, and they've gotten older. But when they think about Atomy, even though they haven't done much, they're still getting residual income from the system. So when they come to their senses and start again, fortunately, if they try again, everyone realizes it at a different point in time. Then as things grow again, it's like a windfall that increases my sponsor bonus. So in the end, there's no one you can just write off. But in the end, the reason is that when the roots are deep and sales suddenly spike and the roots haven't been completely pulled out, those people come back and get their act together. But for those whose roots have been completely pulled out, they disappear. Why? Because Atomy doesn't make them any money. So the key point I realized at Atomy, which is today's main topic, is don't pull out the roots. Just like you cut lettuce, not pull it out by the roots. You get it, right? So the fact that this system income is now coming in securely for me, there were a lot of partners who went through tough times and made my heart ache. But I didn't pull out all of their roots. So those people didn't try to move their line or go to another line. They just stayed where they were and kept going. You know what I mean, right? This is really important. And as you go deeper, don't try to pull out the roots. And remember, it's always the customers who fall in love with the product that become business partners. So don't try to change those product consumers all at once. You need to gradually turn them into product enthusiasts. Whether you let them try it, buy it, do a group purchase, or just give it to them, that's up to your ability. But anyway, as long as that person becomes a customer who falls in love with the product thinking, oh, this is nice, oh, this is nice, the more often and the more types of products they experience, the more likely they are to become loyal customers. According to my data, when someone regularly uses about 15 to 20 different products and has received cashback at least once, they usually attend at least one seminar. Or they use just one or two products and give them out as gifts. So they try them out and then receive commissions once or twice. Then again, they come to the seminar. In the end, most people come to the seminar after they've received commissions. When they've only used the products, they rarely come to the seminar. That's how it was in my experience. So our job is to use our abilities to get people to try out as many products as possible. But the thing is, those people aren't going to switch everything all at once. It's going to take time. So our role is to accept that, keep looking for new people, and just like steaming potatoes and sweet potatoes, continue to manage the existing people while steadily increasing the number of products they use. And the key for us is to create auto-consumers, people who order directly on their own. That way we can create system income. But if you pull out the roots, it's hard to build system income, everyone. There are also people who keep doing this underneath. If you keep demoting people above you just because you don't like them over and over again, right? Then there won't be any rank holders, so there won't be anyone making money. If someone only makes 2 million, who would be crazy enough to work? But if it's 5 million, 3 million, or even 5 million, 10 million, that's when people really go crazy and give it their all. So lately, when my partner signees have been working for about a week, they see that their weekly earnings, which we settle every day and pay out once a week, are over 1 million. When they see that it just goes over 1 million, they say this to me. The partner signees, they say, wow, this must be really fun. If you understand it that way, it means you're enjoying it too. Like, wow, am I really earning this much now? Once you experience the system income for yourself, you get hooked on it. That's why people go crazy for it. Those who know that feeling get so fired up, their words have power and their eyes are full of energy. But until then, you really don't know what it's like. This person isn't at that rank yet, but they've attended the seminar about 3 times. But recently that person said this. Oh, I think I can do this too. Because of their age, I don't think they thought that way at first. But now they think I can do this too. And they realize there's no sign-up fee or monthly maintenance fee. Also, there are people like this among you. Never do this. What we need to do is quickly turn our partners into auto consumers to create system income. But some people, because they don't want to lose out on left-right matching, say, I'll place the order for you, so don't order yourself, and they don't reveal this to others. Never do that, everyone. That is truly just labor income, labor. What will you do if I get sick and collapse? That person won't know either because you never told them. That's why you absolutely have to teach them. There are even people who, even when someone wants to learn, still refuse to tell them. That's when things get crazy. Even when someone wants to learn, you tell them not to. Oh, it's such a hassle. I'll just do it for you. Since it's inconvenient for you, let me handle it. What happens if you're too kind? They just keep saying thank you and keep placing orders with you. But is that really the right way to go? That's the path to ruin, everyone. We need to eliminate work. Only when you eliminate work does it become true system income, everyone. This person is going overboard just to make this match happen. Trying to adjust the date and saying, I'll do it for you. This is really not okay, everyone. You need to look beyond what's right in front of you to see the bigger picture. Back when we first started this business, all sorts of things happened and we ended up with all kinds of so-called bonus situations like this. So you absolutely must teach those who genuinely want to learn and only let those who don't want to do it their own way. Ultimately, our job is to quickly turn people into auto consumers, everyone. Those consumers will place orders themselves, even without contacting me. That's the only way you can truly receive a solid, stable system income, travel freely, and gain both time and financial freedom. I thought, wow, you really shouldn't do that. But there are all kinds of people out there. How could someone even think that way? But that's just my own perspective. And since everyone is different, you should also think, yeah, I guess that's possible. After all, since you're not making a lot of money yet, it's understandable to feel that way. While understanding that, you need to teach them that it's not the right way, but it's actually quite difficult to teach people who think that way. So what should you do in those situations, everyone? They say things like, the best-selling product is this one and Imperial Master Lee said so. If you say, you shouldn't do it like that, then it sounds like I'm giving an order. But if you say, Imperial Master Lee Dioko said so, then they go, oh, really? And then they listen again. And then they say, a Chairman Park Angle said so. It's good to say it like this. And don't make it sound like you're the one teaching, saying things like, so-and-so sponsor said this. Especially if you push too hard, they won't listen. So you should say, the sponsor taught me this. If you do it like this and then say the boss collapses, later on these people won't know how to place orders themselves, so in the end those consumers end up scattering to other Atomy teams. Wouldn't that be such a waste of your time? There have been people like that? Even if you haven't experienced it, there have been people like that. That's what happened. That person really regretted it, you know? If your upline lacks experience, share other stories. For beginners, I'm saying, even if it's a white lie from your upline, go ahead and use it. It's for that person's sake. That way, those people can relate to it more quickly. You understand, right?